5 seconds to go. Start. The equation of defense is your defense forces plus your industrial and technological background plus thirdly the economy of the country and fourthly the spirit of the people. Looking at the countries of the world, there are only two at the present moment which may be termed from the military point of view absolutely in the front rank. There are many other countries in between. Where do we come in the picture? Here we are backward technologically and industrially, and yet, except for Japan, probably more industrialized at the present moment than any other country in Asia. I am leaving out the Soviet territories and even in regard to China, which is making great progress. I think it may well be said that at the present moment we are somewhat in advance in some ways, industrially considered, certainly not in a military way. They have a huge army. We have a relatively small army, but I am talking about industrial development and not of other matters. We belong, therefore, to the so called underdeveloped countries, though more advanced in some matters. Take atomic energy. Probably we are in the first half a dozen countries of the world or somewhere near that. I do not exactly know, it is difficult to say. We are certainly not among the first three or four. We are in the next rank. An honorable member, I am told, said here, what is the good of your 5-year plans? You must concentrate on defense. That is a grave statement to make. But the 5-year plan is the defense plan of the country. What else is it? Because defense does not consist in people going about marching up and down the road with guns and other weapons. Defense consists today in a country being industrially prepared for producing the goods and equipment of defense. The right approach to defense is to avoid having unfriendly relations with other countries. Some honorable members in this House who talk in rather aggressive terms of neighboring countries and want to take brave action sword in hand serve no cause, certainly not the cause of this country. It is one thing for us to be perfectly prepared because, however peaceful our policy may be, no responsible government can take the risk of an emergency arising which it cannot face. This we have to keep in mind at all times. Then we come to the second aspect. The strength of a country develops by industrial growth, which implies the capacity to make weapons of war for the army, the navy, or the force. You cannot develop an isolated industry without a general background of industrial development. You cannot have a factory producing tanks in the absence of other industrial development in the country. A factory producing aircraft can be erected only if there is a large supply of technically trained people. Therefore, our immediate object should be, both from the point of view of economic development and that of defense to build up industry, heavy industry in particular. The criticism may be justified that we ought to have started thinking in these terms even earlier. But the point is that we are, at least today, thinking in terms of building up heavy industry, iron and steel, machine making plants, and production of oil. Take this business of oil. Most of your machines will become completely useless without oil to run them. If we do not produce enough oil in this country, well, the big machines get tied up. There will be nothing to run them with. Now we come up against a grave difficulty. Let us admit for the moment that we are proceeding along right lines, those right lines being the industrialization of the country, which is good from the economic point of view as well as for defense. But industrialization takes time. What will happen before you are strong enough? You may get knocked down in the course of the next 10 years, and all you saying we are not ready for an attack will not prevent the enemy from attacking you. This is a difficult problem that every country has to face to balance immediate danger with consideration of better security later on. If you think too much in terms of immediate danger and concentrate on it, the result will be that you never get strong enough tomorrow and the day after. Your resources are being spent not in productive ways, not in the growth of real strength, but in temporary strength which you buy or borrow from others. You get a machine from outside, you use it, and it does give you some temporary assurance, although it is not very great. But as I told you, if some part goes wrong, you are helpless. And this difficulty has become even more real for us because of recent developments, more especially the military aid that has come in fairly considerable quantity to our neighbor country. I do not think that there is likelihood of war. Stop.